Mabuhay Pilipinas, Play It Right is back. And this is Kinito Henson along with...
Hi, Diane Casilo again. And of course, we can't get enough with winning coach Tim Cone. Thank you for spending all these minutes with us. We can just sit here and listen to all your stories. We just super love it. But now we're going to talk about going back to the PBA, which is something that you have been absent from for 6 months since the last Ginebra game.
6 months, yeah,
at
least.
When was the last time you had this much of a break from the PBA? Not much break from basketball,
not
but
break from basketball, that's for sure. It's pretty intense 5 months or 6 months that we've had with the World Cup and the Asian Games. It was a really intense 5-6 months. But yeah, I've never been this far away from the PBA this length of time, and but it's it's like I never left.
Yeah.
You get back into practice first day. It's like
it never stopped.
Never stopped. My problem. I told the players when I first got back. I said, hey, pardon me, but this feels like the first day of practice for me, and pardon my my how excited I am.
Yeah.
And these guys have been practicing for 3 or 4 months, and I walk in there and I go, now let's get at it, guys. I'm super excited. They're like, oh. No.
I wanted to ask you before we ask about Ginebra. You had a 2-week vacation. Now, I'm just really curious because, I mean, to me, you really needed it. It was such a well-deserved break. When you were out there in the United States for 2 weeks with Chris, your wife, and your kids and your family, do you think about basketball still? Are you talking about basketball? You're talking to everybody back home, or no basketball?
Oh, no, it's all about basketball. My family wants to know. They want to know all the details. And people you meet, they want to know also.
Oh, okay.
So, but, it's like I said, it was just really great seeing my sisters, both in their 70s, and I haven't seen them in 6 years. So to spend time with them was really special.
Nice.
And I got to see my son, who lives in San Francisco. So it was a really, really nice trip. And I got to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play. And
did they win?
Yes, they did. They played the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles. And it's always been a bucket list for me to see. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. And I'm a big fan of the St. Louis Cardinals, a huge fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've always wanted to see them live. And over these 50 years that I've been a fan, I've never watched them live.
Wow.
So this was like a real bucket list. And to do it with my son sitting next to me, who's also a big Steelers fan, it was really, really special. We had our Steeler jerseys on.
Wow.
And I had Steeler hats, and my son was waving the terrible towel. And it was just an awesome experience. But anyway, let's go back to Ginebra.
Yeah, but okay, talking about Ginebra, you're back at practice. Some new players. Maverick Ahan-Misi has joined the team, and a couple of rookies, Gumaru, Ralph Koo. What about the chemistry of Barangay Ginebra with this team that's going to be playing in the PBA? LA Tenorio, he's a question mark. Has he been practicing? Is he good to go?
LA has been practicing every day.
How is he?
And he's doing really well. And he looks like the old LA. You don't see any difference. But he's not scheduled to actually return to the live games until the first week of December. So, but he is practicing every day, continuing to build. But his target is that first week of December. I think December 3rd or 4th, we have a game. I can't remember who it is, but that's the game when we expect him to be back and be back in the lineup. Right now, he's not in the active lineup yet. So, but he will be on the first week of December. So if you don't see LA's name there, don't worry about it. He's there. He's just going to be coming in December.
What about Ahan-Misi? He's a big piece to add to your organization. And Jeremiah Gray not able to play at all this coming season. How do you think Ahan-Misi is going to, fill in the shoes of Jeremiah Gray, or maybe develop his own new role with Ginebra?
Well, we're really excited about Mav. I'm really excited about pairing him with Scotty and seeing these two guys play together. They have very similar games. Mav's a very active rebounder like Scotty. He's a great shooter, and so he'll be able to spread the floor for us. He's a great ball handler. He's really good in transition in the open court, so adds that part to us. So we're really excited about Mav. Getting him with Stanley, we can match him with Stanley, we can match him with Scotty. We could even bring Jamie back to the backcourt and let Mav handle the ball. He brings a lot of versatility into his game in terms of being able to be that shooter and that scorer and that guy who can get it out in the fast break and still be the lead guard, point guard, and settle everything down and do that. That's the kind of guards that we always are looking for in our system.
So you've had 4 practices so far with Ginebra, and how has it been? Your import, who's going to be playing for you, Tony Bishop, is here. How is that going?
Well, we
so
love
far?
Tony. We loved Tony even before he came because it's like we have intimate knowledge of him already.
Yeah.
Because we played him in a 6-game final series. When you play a final series against somebody where everything's on the line, you're seeing the best and the worst of a player during that kind of pressure situation. You learn a lot about it because you're watching all the videos, you're studying all the moves, figuring out how you can counter.
Just like you know him.
Yeah, it's like we really know him. And so, we came in and the first day, it was like everybody knew him already. I was kidding Christian. I told Christian that he even knows the type of gum that Tony likes to eat, chew, because Chris was like right there in front of him the whole 6 games.
That is so funny.
So Christian is like, Christian knows him really as well as anybody. So, there was a real comfort level of him walking in. We knew the kind of energy level he's going to bring. We know his skills, and we already have a vision for how he can play. And that's primarily why we brought him in. And he's a winner. He took that Morocco team, went all the way to the finals. A lot of people didn't think that, he came in and took the place of what's his name, the kid that played in Japan, big strong kid that we played.
Alan Durham.
Yeah, he took Alan Durham's spot. And everybody thought nobody can replace Alan Durham. And there's no way Morocco can get to the finals without Alan Durham. And he took them to the finals. So.
What about the pressure at Tony Bishop? Because obviously fans are going to compare him to the man, Justin Brownlee.
It's like comparing, all these players over the years, comparing him to Michael Jordan. Nobody's going to be compared to Michael Jordan. And if you try to compare him, everybody's going to fall short. So that's going to be the danger for us as an organization. Is that, if we lose a game, we're going to want to say, oh, Justin had played, and which wouldn't be the truth. But that's what we're going to want to say. Or if he misses that shot, oh, Justin would have made that shot.
Yeah.
So that's the danger that we have to understand, and as a group, that we can't keep those comparisons. And we just got to see Tony for what he is and what he brings to us, and live with that. And if we win or lose, it's going to be because we didn't support Tony well enough, not that Tony wasn't good enough for us, because it wasn't Justin. So we have to really stay away from the comparison. We understand the fans will do that. We understand that management will do that.
Yeah.
The commentators will do that. But as a group, our players, we cannot do that. Our coaching staff cannot do that. We can't look back and regret that we don't have the greatest import of all time at this point.
Talking about the greatest import of all time,
about
Justin Brownlee. What's the latest with
Yeah.
him? Is he going to be able to play, you
Is he
think?
coming?
Is he coming to town?
Well, we understand he might be here on the November 4th. You never know about Justin. He always kind of misses planes here or there. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but he's scheduled for the 4th, I believe, so we don't actually know what kind of role he's going to have on the team at that point. He's going to probably help the coaching staff a little bit, be that confidant for Tony Bishop, and.
Right.
But the bottom line is that in terms of playing, we don't know. We don't know. We haven't heard anything from FIBA in terms of the suspension or possible suspension. We haven't heard anything. So,
But what
at
about
this point, everything's up in the air.
What about his health? Assuming that he is able to play day one in the PBA, will he be able to play?
Well, I think that for him, I think the rest he had. Again, people just don't realize the sacrifice he made in that Asian Games.
Yeah, we didn't know his foot was black and blue after every game.
He was taking painkillers into his foot, injections into his foot for every game, numbing it out so he wouldn't feel that pain. He was doing all the way through it. The doctors told us it's really that he should not be playing at that point. But he forced himself to play, and for one reason and one reason only. It was for the country. And he had been tasked as a naturalized player. He felt it was his duty to do everything he could to play. So got to give him, aside from all those great shots and all those things, I mean, you just got to really bow
No, for
to
sure.
Justin. And but that foot, put it this way, if it had been Ginebra, if we had been playing Ginebra games instead of Asian games or Gilas games, Justin would not have played for sure.
Yeah.
He would have been resting. We would have helped find somebody else to keep him, so because we would be more worried about his future and want him longer term. So at this point, the bottom line is, it would be better if he didn't play at this point. Got more rest for his foot, get more therapy, get his foot stronger. I don't know how much longer he needs, a couple more weeks or a month or 2 months or whatever, but he does need more time to rest that foot.
Yeah. Well, I remember the day when he just got naturalized. Like, he was super excited, and then he played his first games for Gilas, and then he played for Gilas again. Then going back now, you're super gonna miss him, right? But talk to us about how valuable. I mean, everybody knows how he scored and won games for us. Like, his attitude on the court. Like, what makes him so amazing? Because you see him like super up close.
It's really hard to describe, It's almost indescribable, but there is a certain specialness about him, his personality.
Yeah.
Number one, he's so even-keeled. Nothing ever ruffles him. He never gets upset or mad.
Really? Never has a
He never
tantrum?
really gets all that excited either. He's just
Even after
very-
you won the gold?
Well, I mean, of course you're going to jump around and scream and yell because it's over. Once
Yeah.
it's over, he's ready to let go. But during that process of it, you rarely see him go up and down or whatever. After big games, he's just really even keel. The guy's always got a smile on his face, always laughing. He's what I call a giggler. He always
Really?
giggles. I mean, he's always, anything you say,
For a guy?
he'll giggle.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you make a little joke that you think is not that funny, and nobody else is laughing, but he will laugh. I mean, you can guarantee
I love
he's going to
that.
giggle. And so, he's got that personality. It's just so pleasant to be around.
Nice.
So the teammates really love him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bottom line. If you're well loved by your teammates, they're going to follow you.
Yeah.
And he just rubs off that demeanor of not getting too angry or never getting angry, never being too excited. Kind of it permeates through the whole team. And then his skill level is just off the charts.
Fantastic.
There's nothing he can't do on the floor. He's a passer. He's a scorer. He's out. He's left-handed, right-handed, or left-handed, right-handed.
He does it all.
He does it all, and the team just has tremendous trust that he,
Yeah.
in big moments, if we get him
Delivers.
the ball where he wants to get it, when in those spots, he's going to make something happen. And it won't always be the big shot, but it might be the big pass, or it might be the big stop, or it might be the big rebound. And he just continually does that throughout his career. It's been like that. I mean, not just, we see it in the Asian games, but I mean, how many the Ginebra fans know that because they've seen it over the years since he's been with Ginebra. So, and he's like the easiest guy to coach.
Right.
He just, in that regard, he reminds me of Johnny Abarientos. Johnny Abarientos was the easiest guy to coach. Didn't have to coach him. And
Really?
same thing with Justin. You don't have to coach him.
Wow.
And his teammates love him.
Teammates are absolutely.
You talked about how the teammates have embraced him as their leader, as their inspiration. Let's talk about those Ginebra teammates. Scotty Thompson, Japet Aguilar, coming off the Asian Games. Jamie Malonzo was injured during the World Cup. He didn't play the last game. But what's his condition now? And Christian Sanhardiger, is he all fired up to start the season? What about Jared Dillinger? Is he going to be able to play? Did you make any cuts before this season begins?
No, Jared is there. Jared's playing. He's practicing every day. He's like our Chris Ross, our chemistry guy. He's the one always talking to Christian and Stanley and Japeth. He's talking to everybody all the time and keeping everybody locked in and focused. I think that's really key for us, and that's why he's around, because he does that for us.
I think Pesumal also did very well during the on-tour series.
Yeah, he is shooting the ball extremely well, and even in practice. Last 4 days, he has been absolutely lights out. So we've got to figure out ways to try to get him on the floor. We are a deep team. There's no doubt about it, especially with Mav. We did lose Jeremiah, and that was not only painful, it was heartbreaking to lose Jeremiah. It was painful for him as well. But he's battled, and he's on his way back, and we're excited to get him back. But that's going to be a while still. But the addition of Mav was a big addition.
And plus, you still have Nards Pinto.
Yeah,
you have Aljon
Nards.
Mariano.
Aljon is on the injured list right now. He's got the same injury as Justin. He's removing bone spurs from his foot, so he won't start the season off with us.
Okay.
But he'll be on our injured list. The two rookies we're really, really high on. Ralph Koo is really a revelation.
Really?
Yeah, we really like
He's a
Ralph.
stretch four. How are you playing?
Everybody compares him to Joe DeVance in terms of he's a right-handed guy, but he can shoot the three. He's a tremendous passer, handles the ball well for a big man, and so he's got some real potential. And Don Gumaro is a lights-out shooter, something we've always been looking for. He's a lights-out shooter. He's a little small, like LA, but he finds ways to get his shot off, and he's a real feisty defender. So we're really high on our two rookies, and obviously Mav as an addition. And like I was going back to Vaughn, we got to find some time for Vaughn. We got to find a place for him, and that's going to be on me and the coaching staff.
And that's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, it's a tough problem to have, but it is. I mean, you'd rather have it that way than the other way around, not having that guy.
Well, you guys are the defending Commissioner's Cup champions, and looks like the other teams are loading up. 5 NBA veterans are playing for different teams. You've got Jonathan Williams and Tyler Bay for Magnolia. Magnolia undefeated during the on-tour season, and a lot of people are saying that the Hot Shots are ready to go for the championship. So many imports coming from very diverse backgrounds. One is from Belgium, one is from Australia, one is from New Zealand, one is from Nigeria. So a lot of different imports to give a different flavor to the competition.
I think it just goes again. We just came off the World Cup and we saw, Germany as a champion. We saw the U.S. end up on the 4th place. So the world is catching up, and not all the great players are in the USA. So the fact that guys are coming from different countries, I think that's just representative of the way basketball is being played now. And the pool has gotten bigger in terms of where you can pick guys up. I think Australia is a really fertile ground for imports, and they have some great basketball going on down there. And of course, Europe's farther away, so it's a little tougher to keep tabs on them. And but when it comes down to it, the U.S. is still going to have the best imports to bring in. But it's never about the talented import. That's one of the things I think that's a misnomer in the PBA. You always think the best import, the supposed best import, is not always the most talented import. It's the talented import is the guys that come in and make spectacular plays and put 40 points up or 50 points up, but basically shut out their teammates. And that never is a recipe for success. It's really the best imports are the ones who fit the team the best. And that's what, Justin's a super talented import. But when he came in, the first year he was here, nobody thought he was that talented. They thought he was good, but they didn't think he was that talented. But now we see him as being very talented. But what makes Justin special is the way he fits in with his teammates. The way he
blends.
Brings out the best.
And that is oftentimes done through time because you get that trust through multiple conferences or things like a Sean Chambers in the past or a Norman Black who continually come back. You create that trust. But that one guy who comes in who's super talented and goes out and scores 60 points in his first game, in my mind, that's a recipe for disaster for that team because he's going to want to score 60 every night.
And that's not going to happen.
No, and it's not going to happen. The coaching and the players are too smart. They've been through that. They know how to shut guys down. They know how to focus on them. So it's not always the most talented import. It's really coming in and getting the team, the best import that fits you the best.
But Coach, this is another challenge for you. You've just done with a challenge of the Asian Games. Now another big challenge with so many imports, different imports, new imports in town. You don't know really exactly how they play. It'll take some time for us to be able to see how they actually play. Then you've got the dimension of new rules. No player timeouts. We've got the transition take foul. We also have the rule about 3 technicals, now leading to an ejection, whereas before it used to be just 2. And then the coaching challenge, which is a very, very interesting innovation. What do you think about these new rules? You think it's going to be a more exciting season because of these new rules?
I don't know if exciting is a word that's appropriate for that. It will make it a little bit different. I think the coach's challenge is, I think, the one that fans will be most interested in. And it's for me, the coach's challenge is all about timing. It's not about getting the right call, because you might have a really, really obvious call in the first 3 minutes of the game, and they say then you use your challenge there, and so it's really going to be about when you use your challenges. I think is the key. Player timeouts. Basically, all you're doing is saving a turnover with that. Guys that get trapped and they call a timeout or whatever. That's all you're doing is saving a turnover. So that's not really a big rule. We adjusted very easily to that in the Asian Games. In the World Cup, we didn't have issues with that, about players calling timeouts. The transition foul, for us, that's something we never give up. We never give up a transition foul. We don't believe in it. We never did, even when the rules didn't allow you to do it. So for us personally, I think with never, I don't think that's an effect. In fact, it'll prevent other teams from doing it, and we always feel the other teams are making mistakes when they do that. So it'll help clean that up. So it's kind of in our disadvantage for us in our minds. So I mean, it'll have small effects here or there, but as I keep saying, basketball is basketball. So we'll just we'll adjust to the rules, and maybe take half a conference or so. But by playoff time, I'm sure everybody's going to be well adjusted to it, and we'll play basketball like we normally do.
Yeah. Well, what can fans expect from Barangay Ginebra in this coming Commissioner's Cup?
Well, we don't like to make predictions in our team, because we're so process oriented. I mean, I kept saying in the Asian Games that our goal was to win a gold medal. And everybody kind of laughed at that when I kept saying it. But it wasn't that we were saying we were going to win the gold medal. That was always our goal.
Yeah.
But that wasn't going to be our focus. We're not going to focus constantly on trying to win the gold medal. Our focus is what we do today and tomorrow and the next day in terms of getting ourselves at a level in which we can compete at a gold level. And I used the PBA as an example at that point, saying, when you go into a conference, you don't go into the conference saying, oh, my goal is to make third place, or my goal is to make the semis, or my goal is to, win 3 games this conference. Your goal, if you're a coach, your goal every time you walk in is to win a championship. Now, that may be unrealistic to others, to some and whatever, but that's got to be your goal. Now, again, that's not your focus. Your focus is not to win the championship. Your focus is the day-to-day, the process, and figuring out what it is. So all I can say is to our fans is that we will stay locked into the process. And if we stay locked into the process and we do the work day in and day out, then there's a really good chance we're going to compete for that championship. Our goal is always to win a championship for our Ginebra fans. That's always our goal.
Yeah.
But obviously, you don't reach your goals all the time. But you put them there for a reason. because you want direction and where you want to go. So there's a reason why we say, our goal is to win a championship, but really our focus is the day-to-day process, and that's where we're going to stay at.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us, puts us forward.
Yeah, Tim. Earlier you talked about you experienced so much personal growth with the national team, having gone to Lithuania, played in the World Cup, Asian Games, Southeast Asian Games. If there was anything that you will inject now into your coaching of Ginebra from all these past experiences, would there be something that you would?
Yeah, I don't know if I tell you, I have to kill you.
In general, I mean, you must have learned so much being so up close.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of defenses that the Lithuanians were doing, some pick and roll defenses that were very creative, that we're planning on implementing this conference. And I thought they were, and we tried to do them in the World Cup with Coach Chut. And it was one of the things I really appreciate about Coach Chut is he's really, really open to new ideas and doing new things. I'm a little bit more locked into what I do, and I don't want to vary too much. But he is wide open. So when he saw things that he thought could help, he immediately jumped onto them, and that kind of opened my eyes as well. And so a couple things that he adapted is going to give me a chance to adapt as well.
Yeah. I mean, like in Inspire now, you're going to go into a camp. Like, is it going to be any different from how you used to train Ginebra?
Yeah, I think that things that I learned from the World Cup from Chut. Chut is it's interesting because we're really polar opposites in terms of much of what way we handle teams. He's a little bit more offensive oriented, and I'm a little bit more defensive oriented. I see the game from the defensive side. He sees the game. When I make adjustments, it's usually from the defensive side. When he makes adjustments, usually from the offensive side. And so we're actually very different. That's why it was interesting to be together, because we had so different perspectives. So I was able to learn a lot about offensively from watching Chut and the stuff that he had adapted from what he learned from all of his international experience of playing against Spanish coaches, the Lithuanian coaches, Serbian coaches, American coaches. He's played against all those guys, and he adapted to a lot of what they did. And so it really opened my eyes during that time. That's what I meant by the personal growth.
Yeah.
And there are some things that you see and you say, those are great, but I still like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it kind of reconfirms what I like, what I do. I think, well, okay, now that's great, but this is greater. So it kind of confirms to me that we're doing the right things. But there are certain things that I had not seen before. And I say to myself, man, if we did that, this would be good for a Christian, or this would be good for a Japheth, or something that we didn't see before. And so yeah, those are the things that we're going to bring to Ginebra. But bottom line is we're going to run our system and be very system oriented on both sides of the floor. And the great thing is that I'm blessed with great buy-in. The players really buy into what we do, and they believe in it. So it makes it a lot easier from a coaching standpoint for me.
Well, thank you very much, Coach Tim Cohn, for sharing your time, sharing your thoughts and insights. So a very interesting two-part series that we had. The first part, of course, was talking about the Asian Games, and this second part, talking about Ginebra's campaign in the coming PBA season. And Diane, what an interesting time that we had with Coach Tim.
For sure. I mean, I'm so excited for the PBA, and I can see that, what's really amazing to me about you is that your passion for the game is like, it's always been there, but now it's in another level. And that, so that's going to be even more exciting to see what Ginebra will bring. And I mean, I think everybody's excited for the PBA to be back, especially since we're the Asian champions.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had the PBA, like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? So, distance makes the heart grow fonder. So the more time we've been away, the more anticipation we have for it all. I'm really excited about it and have great anticipation for it. And I'm sure the fans do. They're chomping at the bit, ready to get back at it. And our players are for sure. They're tired of practicing. They want to get out and
Get
some
it
games.
on.
Yeah, they're gonna
All
get it
right.
on.
Well,
Well, again,
first game, November 17 for
For Barangay
Ginebra.
Ginebra, yes.
Converge.
And we're excited to watch Barangay Ginebra. And of course, the rest of the teams play in the PBA. And with that, we want to thank Coach Tim Cone once more. Congratulations. And hope you stay with us on Play It Right TV for a lot more interesting and exciting episodes. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. This is Kinito Hanson saying thank you very much. And
Diane Castillo, maraming salamat and thanks again. Super thanks, Tim. We'll see you on the basketball court,
Yeah.
tennis court, and golf course. Mabuhay. Never say die.
Mabuhay.
See you next time.